Okay, I'm only able to show AutoCAD on my recording screen, so we're just going to go through the assignments as they're labeled. So if you want to follow along, go on Canvas, find the assignment number 1, assignment number 2, assignment number 3 as I work through them. This here is assignment number 1. We're going to go ahead and get started by hitting Start Drawing. Here it'll open up just kind of a blank slate. The first thing we're going to want to do is hit L for limits, or actually first let's type in our units. Go ahead and type in units, you hit enter. You can really use whatever, decimal really works for me. You could use fractions, just stay away from engineering or scientific. It's not something we're going to be doing here. But just go ahead and hit decimal, precision, this is okay. Inches is what we're working with this assignment, so I'll leave it as is. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Next we can type in limits. Limits will actually set the screen size, so what you're actually seeing. For limits, specify lower left corner 0, 0 is okay. We're going to go ahead and hit enter. Specify the top right corner. Let's do 15, 15. That works for us. Now we have a screen. To see that screen or to move to it, we'll hit Z for zoom. Hit enter when you see zoom pop up. And then go ahead and hit A for all. Now we're at 15:15 window. To go ahead and get started, let's turn on our snap mode and let's turn on our Ortho Snap cursor to 2D reference points. I'll show you what that does. Lastly, we're going to want to do restrict cursor orthology, and we're going to want to turn that on. What that does is, let's say I have a line, it locks me to 90, 270, 180, or 90, so I guess that's 90 degrees. Locks me in these positions. If that gets turned off, I can kind of go everywhere, and then you can create a line that's kind of like this, where you think it might be straight, especially when you zoom out really far. Something like that. It's really hard to tell where you're going to be. So by turning this on, it kind of makes sure you're on 90. Since this assignment is entirely on 90-degree increment thingies, we can use this one here. I'm going to go ahead and hit E for escape. Or sorry, no, escape for escape. E is erase. I'm going to zoom back, so Z and A gets me back to my template size. This here locks me onto different things. L for line, L for line, hit enter. It draws a line. If I do escape, that takes me out of the command, but if I hit L again for another line, this tool allows me to snap onto these points. You see the little green point, the triangle is a midpoint, and that box is there. If we turn that off, you'll notice those disappear. So that's really helpful for this assignment. Go ahead and leave that on. We're going to leave the grid on, so that turns it off. This turns it back on, and we're also going to leave snap on. So snap, if we turn it off, we can draw a line anywhere. Doesn't really matter. See how it's a very fluid motion. If we turn that on, now it's very incremented. It snaps to the little grid points. I'm going to go and hit E for erase. So first escape, then E for erase. I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to move in the left position. The left position allows me to select anything that my green area is touching. If I do E for erase and select on the right side, even though I'm touching this line, because the line's not fully in the blue area, it won't select it. So either one works, you just gotta understand which ones you're using. Once I've selected them, I hit enter and it erases everything I have. So let's get started. We'll hit R for rectangle. You want to go the second one down just because that's a rectangle. I'll go ahead and hit somewhere that looks normal on my screen, and I'll create this box. Unfortunately, it doesn't give me dimensions of the box. I can work off of coordinates if I want to look here, like where I started to where I'm going, although that can be a little confusing sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit dimensions. So D for dimensions, enter. Now it's going to give me the length. Length I know, according to my assignment sheet, should be 5.5. I'll hit enter, and that sets my length. For my width, I know it's going to be 2.5. Now I have a rectangle. Some people think this is it, but really it's where your mouse is. Actually, if I move over to this point of the origin or this point, it kind of gives me an area where I can place it. Because 5.5 length and height, it really actually gives me 4 options, so I'll go ahead and select the one I want. Now that that's set, we'll go ahead and select the line tool, L for line. Enter is selecting your line. we'll go down, oh, I don't know, about 2 inches. Before you click, you hit 2 and then enter, and that sets your length at 2. 2 is a little much. Let's go back, Control Z. So now that's back to nothing. Remember, I'm locked in the ortho mode. Oh, no, it's this one, Orthology. So I am locked to 90. So all I have to do is go in the downward direction. I'll go 1.5. That sounds a little better. And now it's set me apart that far. Notice my tool is still activated, so now I'll just move in this direction. We know the length to be 2. Now we have a 2 length there. We'll go in the down direction. We know it to be 0.5. Oops. Go ahead and zoom out for now. Go in this direction, 3.5. Then down 1.25. Then this direction, 5.5. And finally, we could always just hit the C button for close, or we could go up and actually close it. Since we do have the snap cursor on, we can always find that little square, hit it, and now we have a closed shape. We're going to hit escape to get out of our line tool, and then we're going to hit E for erase. I did it this way on the left direction, because if I were selecting on the right direction, it would be very difficult for me to select without grabbing these ones. So I'll hit enter and that deletes it. Now I hit escape. I'm back in the empty mode. For this assignment, we do need to do dimensions on the drawing, and we also need to put labels. So let's do the labels first. We'll go ahead and select text. We'll make a little text bubble, kind of roughly in the middle. And once it selects, we'll go ahead and write top view. This is the top view of our lap joint. So it's a little small. I'm going to go ahead and double click. It'll open up the text again. I'll highlight it, go up here, and I will say 0.3. That looks a little bit better. It is, however, not very centered, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it. This little button here moves it around. You'll notice, however, it's still very snappy. So it won't allow me to center it very nicely. I'm going to go back down here, turn off snap mode, and now I can move it fluidly. Oh, I'm actually restricted in the orthology, so I'll go ahead and turn this one off as well. Now you'll see I can move it anywhere I want. So I'll move it roughly eyeball center, and we can go ahead and do that again for the front. There. Front view. Go ahead and highlight it, and let's make it 0.3. Like we did the other one. You'll notice here this time it jumped down. That's because our box that we drew wasn't big enough. So I'll go ahead and make it wider until it fits. Oop. And then I'll right click out, or left click out. Again, we can move it centered as best we can. This doesn't look right. So I've just noticed that this dimension looks a little long. Oops. Yeah, so that one's wrong. I'm going to go ahead and hit E for erase. It says select objects. Another option before highlighting is I can just select the objects I want to erase. I'll go ahead and enter to delete them. There we go. And I'm going to come back through with an L, escape line tool. I'm going to click right here, turn on ortho. I'll go down. Actually, the distance down is 1.25 minus 0.5, so I actually know that distance to be 0.75. That's better. Now it's 5.5, and then I can go ahead and close. Escape to get out, right click, double click, and I can move it. That's better. Yeah, that looks more like the assignment. Now escape. Escape is kind of your friend. You can always hit escape to kind of cancel whatever command you do or do not know you have on. I can go up to dimensions, and I can click one point, click the other point, and go up. That lists my dimension as 5.5, just like the drawing assignment. Now, if this is on, and I hit dimensions, sometimes, nope, let's see what's going on. There we go. If we turn off the snap cursor to 2D reference points, when we hit dimensions, it's just going to give us the line that we're on. So we can click the line that we're on and move out the dimension we want. That's a little bit easier for this assignment, so we'll go ahead and leave that off. For this, we know it's 2, we can go up 2. For this, we know it's 3.5, but instead of putting it here where it's kind of confusing, kind of messes with the drawing a little bit, we'll move it down. Here's 0.5. We'll go ahead and zoom in just so we can see it a little bit better. Oh, turn off snap grid. There we go. The last dimension we need is this one here, and we're all set. We'll go ahead and hit Z for escape first again. Escape before we can get out. Z for zoom, A for all, and now we have our assignment, and that would be ready to print and submit.